Good morning, beautiful people of the world. Good morning. It is Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. Hopefully this is going to work. Open right here. Pray for me that this... Good morning, beautiful people of the world. Good morning. It is Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. How is everybody doing on today? Whew. Man, it was a struggle this morning. I got a little cold. I don't feel bad, but my nose, the sneezing, and I slept good last night. I took two Tylenol for arthritis because my whole body was hurting yesterday. My foot was hurting. Girl, everything was hurting. Do you hear me? I mean, hurting. So, I took the two Tylenol, and that helped. So I said, thank you, Jesus. Praise the Lord. Shout out to Meadow Shrub. He sent me some money yesterday for Chris Uber. I appreciate you so much. I truly needed it. Get paid Friday. I gotta call the water company, find out why my water bill is so damn high. Thankful to see another day, you all. Thankful to see another day. And today is Truthful Tuesday. And you know what we do every Tuesday? We tell our truth. The best way we know how, we tell our truth. So you can write in the comment section something you want to get off your chest. Let's talk about it. It's Truthful Tuesday. It is Truthful Tuesday. Think. I do have a few. But one of the Truthful Tuesdays that I want to talk about is about friendship. And again, huge shout out to Meadow Shrub for sending money yesterday for Chris Uber. I appreciate you. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It helps. Every little bit helps, you know. And the same thing you did is the same thing you know who could do, but don't offer anything. But it's okay because my source is not in man, it's in God. And I know that God provides all the time. So before I get into my spiel, well, this ties into friendship. So I'll just tie this story in. I want to talk about friendship today because it's an important word. And it's important for us to have friends. Now, before you all get on here and say, oh, I don't have any friends, I don't have a best friend, I don't have a close friend, I don't have anybody that I'm tight with like that because, you know, I don't really trust people, so forth and so on. I understand. I get it. No judgment here. Right? No judgment here. But friends are important. They're important to have in your life. There are people that are going to be your lifelong friends, and there are people that's going to be your seasonal friends. And what I mean by that is that some people are only in your life for a season. They are there to serve a purpose at that particular time that you need them. They're not meant to be there forever. They're not meant to be there for a long period of time in your life. They are only meant to be there for the time that they are meant to be. And then when it's time for them to leave, it's time for them to leave. Amen, somebody. Amen. So you can have people in your life that you call a friend. You have friends, you have associates, there's 3 categories. You have best friends, you have associates, and then you have those that you just know of who they are. And that's how it goes. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that you love them, you don't like them, or you don't love them. But they're just not they can't, in other words, what I'm saying is they can't sit in the front row. They are those friends that sit at the back or up in the balcony. That's just where they are. And I want to talk about this because Chris is starting to find that out. And it's really disheartening, but it's life lessons that Chris is going to have to learn as he goes through life, as he deals with people. I have friends on my job that I consider my friends. I don't consider them my besties, except for one. My friend Judy, who I told you all, she's my Spanish friend. She's Latino. And I've been, even though we're different races, but we're friends. We're good friends. She and I have worked behind that garbage truck together. She's one of the hardest. She's one of the hardest working women that I know. And I love her. Like I said, we different race of women, but we women. And she had been through hell on that job like I have, and she has been through some things just like me, but again, like I said, we are women and we are friends and we love each other, and there is nothing that I would not do for her. Nothing. And the same. We've never had an argument. We've had a disagreement, but we've never had an argument. I know that she will go to the ends of the earth for me. I know that. And the same for me. We talk every day. If we don't talk every day, we looking for each other and be like, why you ain't called me? Now, she gets off at 2:30. I was getting off at 2:30, so we talk after work until she gets home. We don't talk on the weekend because she's married, and she's busy with her grandkids and stuff, things of that nature. If we call each other on the weekend, we know something is up. If we call each other on the weekend, we know that something is wrong. Okay? If we call each other, that's our code. We call each other on the weekend, either something is wrong or something exciting has happened that we want to tell each other. That's our code, because our Monday through Friday is our talk time. And I dedicate that time to her, and she dedicates that time to me. Now, there are times when she may have a doctor's appointment, dentist appointment, or she working late, overtime, and then she's like, I'll call you when I get off work. And she will call. Sometimes she don't answer. She'll send a text. She'll shoot me a text right away. I'll call you back. Same here. But we talk. Both of us live on the other side of town. But we love each other. because she is getting ready to retire. And I want her to retire because she's had a heart attack behind the garbage truck. She's had all kinds of different things that, damn, that car was fucked up. That person, wow, I hope that person survived. Jesus. It's facing the other way. That's weird. She has had all different types of health issues. And in the midst of her having her health issues, you know, she's had to, they're going to fire, I know they just going to that car. She's had to battle and deal with, you know, trying to take off work and still come to work. You know, this job does not give us paid sick leave. This job don't give us enough vacation or sick time. None of that. And we have this thing called combined and Aflac. Now, I let my combined lapse, okay? I couldn't keep affording to pay that. And I know that I should pick it back up. And I will. I'll pick it back up. But right now, y'all, I just, no. That's a whole nother story. I'll get into that later. But anyway, that's my friend. And it's sad to see my son be sad that he and his best friend are no longer friends. They didn't have an argument. They didn't have a disagreement. It wasn't any of that, and none of that. He met him when he went to this other high school, when he was a sophomore. He met him. They were so close that when Christopher left that high school to go back to the high school that he originally came from, he told him, okay, so this little boy's grandmother is raising him because her daughter, she died in a car accident, a bad car accident. So she died when he was like 4 or 5. So the grandmother has been raising him. His father is a deadbeat, like Christopher's father. Same thing. So, so the father don't do anything for him. You know, the grandfather is in his life. He told Chris he didn't get anything for Christmas, and he didn't get anything for his birthday. Now, the grandmother worked. I think she worked 2 jobs. The grandmother is my age. Okay, she ain't no old woman. She young. And I don't know her financial situation. It's probably like everybody else. She's probably struggling to pay these bills and so forth and so on. You know what I'm saying? So he now has a girlfriend. And since he got this girlfriend, he's been acting funny towards Christopher. So he told Christopher that now him and Christopher play and joke around all the time. I've taken this young man, he's gone twice. He's gone with us to celebrate Christopher's birthday. I have bought his food, you know, his snacks, everything. I really, really like him. I really liked him because he was on the same page as Christopher was on. And he has manners. And I can tell he's being raised right, you know. He always, thank you, Miss Cotton, thank you. You know, I've given him rides home from school. We take him home. He lives literally 10 minutes away from us. So he got a girlfriend, okay. So he tells Chris, you know, you embarrassed me. You embarrassed me in front of my girlfriend. And Chris is like, what are you talking about? He was like, we played like we always play. they had went on this college tour, and they go on this college tour, and they all joking and playing around like they always do. But he acts as if Chris, embarrassed him. And Chris was kind of like stumped, like, huh? Like, what are you talking about? Well, the girl was also goofing around with Chris. So what I think is that he thinks that the girl likes Chris, or Chris liked the girl. So Chris was like, hey man, excuse me. Ooh. I'm sorry, y'all. I apologize. I had to sneeze. So Chris is like, hey man, what are you talking about? He was like, what you mean? I embarrassed you. He said, we just gonna call him Larry. He said, Larry, I would never embarrass you. He said, been playing with you. He said, I've been playing with you like this for the last 2 years. He said, so I don't know what's so different today than any other day. I think I said his name the other day on here, but we're gonna call him Larry. So Larry is like, yeah, well, I just feel like, you went too far or whatever. So Chris apologized for being apologetic. Man, I didn't mean nothing bad. He said, and so Chris tells me, he said, Mama, I played with him. He said it wasn't no different that day than it was any other day. He said he played with me too. They teenagers, they goof around. So they're in a group chat. And this group chat that they are in, these are Larry's friends. So Larry started this group chat with his other friends that he went to grammar school with, and he brought Chris into the fold of the group chat. So it's a girl and 3 guys. There was another girl in there and another one, but I don't think they in there anymore. So the other night they were all in this group chat. Now, well, let me back up. So anyway, after he apologized to Larry and apologized to him and everything like that, they got okay. So Chris thought. So after that, they were still kind of talking and everything. He said, but it just shifted. So it shifted, right? So Chris was coming home telling me different stuff. He said he's still acting funny. He said he acting funny towards me. And he knew that he was acting funny with him the first time. Because you know when somebody treating you funny. And after they had to talk, he said, he thought that they were good, So after they had that talk or whatever, Chris, I don't know what Chris said to him, but Larry felt bad. And he was like, no, man, no, I'm just saying, but no, Chris, we good, we good. And Chris is like, are we? He was like, because, he said, for you to even think that I would even do some shit like that. And this is what Chris told me. He said, I told him this, for you to even think that I would do some shit like that, you must not know me. I'm not like that. He said, I've been loyal to you, and they've always said to each other that they're like brothers because he's an only child. Chris is an only child. They don't have no siblings, right? It's, so they had a lot of things in common. Chris is kind of an introvert, and so is this little boy. So they kind of like stuck together, so to speak. So, excuse me, you all. I apologize for snorkeling or whatever. I apologize. But they had a lot of things in common. They would talk about, how you know, they were at this other school. And they were talking about how bad these other kids were. Well, these kids that were at this school came from a project here in Chicago. You probably have heard of it, called Old Block. Some kids those kids was rough. Chris wanted out of there, you know. And so they had a lot of things in common, and they stuck together at this other school. Larry was so glad when he met Chris, because he was telling Chris, you know, I don't really mess with none of these kids here. I got some friends here that I'm cool with. He said, but he said they really, he said they be on something. So when Chris came to that school, Larry finally found someone that, you know, he could relate to and, you know, be friends with, right? So Chris was hurt by that when that jumped off. You know, he said, why would he think that I would try to embarrass him in front of his girlfriend? He said, and this is how we've been playing. He said, now all of a sudden it's a problem. So Chris, I said, because that's how people are. That's how people are. You know, he said he ain't got this girlfriend now, and he ain't changed. Well, Chris already knew the girl because of the freshman year. And he was like, he was mad at him, which I would have been mad too. Because don't come accusing me of no BS. You know what I'm saying? That's just BS. It's really BS. Putting on my hazards, y'all. I'll be right back. Close this. Go get this key. shit you gotta go through to get a goddamn key. You know what I'm saying? The shit you gotta go through. I'm so glad I'm on vacation next week. Well, part of next week. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, y'all. And it's only Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the following Monday. Well, I'm so glad I don't know what to do. So anyway, you all, he, like I said, he was really pissed, you know, and rightfully so, because I would have been pissed too, you know. I would have been pissed. Go punch in. I took my mother's car yesterday to get a car wash. $45. My mama said, damn, what all you have done to my car? I said, girl, your car was so damn nasty. You need a whole lot of stuff done to your car. But anyway, so my car was nasty. Man is too. I don't have $45. I need to get this salt off my car, but it's gonna have to wait until Friday until I get paid. I can't do $45 plus Uber plus try to eat lunch today, you know. But I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it. It is dirty. It's nasty, but it can wait. So anyway, Chris says, you know, so they went back and forth, and so then he felt bad. Larry felt bad, right? And so then he was kind of trying to make it up to Chris. So they got okay, semi-okay. So then Larry went back to acting funny again. So they had a senior dinner dance. You know, I told you all I took him down to the senior dinner dance. And I asked him, was Larry going? And he was like, nope. He was like, I asked him, was he going? And he said he wasn't going. So a lot of things that if Larry didn't do, Chris wouldn't do. You know, they kind of like, are you going? You going? You know, so they could be there together. So I told Chris, I said, look here. I said, you cannot not go to stuff because Larry don't want to go. I said, Chris, you getting ready to graduate from high school, and you are getting ready to embark on many friendships with different people. I said, you're going to become friends with people that you work with. I said, you're going to become friends with other organizations that you may get involved with. I said, Chris, I said, I understand that's your best friend, and I understand you all, you know, they had made this bond, which you should, that nobody come between our friendship. I said, but you got to do things, even if it's something you want to go to and Larry don't want to attend, you should not go. He said, oh, yeah, I know that. I said, okay, I just want to make sure you know that. I said, because all this, I'm not going because Larry don't want to go crap. I said, no, we're not doing that, you know? We're not doing that. So he said, no. He said, I'm going because I want to go. And he did. He went. So after the dance, he said Larry went back to acting funny. So he was like, he back to kind of like act, treating me funny or whatever. He was like, he said, I don't know what's up with him. So Chris sends him a text. Because I told him, I said, well, send him a text and let him know how you feel. So he sent him a text and he said, hey man, I don't know what's going on with you. He said, you just different. You just not the same. He said, we don't, because they would talk on the phone every night after they got home from school. He said, we don't talk no more. They'd be on the phone on the weekend. They would get on. They would play the game. They would be on FaceTime. And they would be in this group chat. So the other thing that happened in the group chat, that there was the girl that's in the group chat, we're just going to call her, I don't want to say her real name either. We'll just call her Tina. So Tina had a friend. And Tina wanted to introduce her friend to Chris. Remember, I told you her name was, now that name, that was, I told y'all about her. Her name was KK, okay? And I said, you would meet somebody named KK after I went through what I went through with this bitch on YouTube, right? Remember, I was laughing about that? So, Tina introduces KK to Chris. Well, Chris and KK just didn't hit it off. Chris would text her. She would answer Chris back. And Chris was like, you know what? He said, I ain't going to keep texting her. He said, she don't never answer me back. He said, he was like, I'm not getting ready to play this game with her. So anyway, they were in a group chat. And KK and Chris got into it. And so Chris kind of like let her have it. He said, listen, he said, I call you. He said, I text you. He said, and you do not answer. He said, what you want me to do? He said, I'm not going to keep running up behind you trying to talk to you and you don't even respond to me. He said, no. He said, either you like me or you don't. He said, and if you don't, that's cool. So they went at it. So the girl, KK, was like, oh, you think you all that? You think something just because you light-skinned? Chris was like, first of all, I'm not light-skinned. He said, secondly, yeah, I do think I'm all that. He said, as everybody should think that they all that. He said, but I don't think that I'm all that I can't be friends or I can't talk to you. He said, I liked you. And he said, and I showed you that I liked you. He said, and you blew me off more than once. He said, so I'm done. So Larry and Chris was talking in the group chat about girls or something, and Chris put up this picture of this girl, and he was saying to Larry, ain't she fine? And Larry was like, yeah, she hot, man. His friend KK got mad. I find that disrespectful that you putting up a picture in over here, and you supposed to be talking to me. He was like, I'm not your boyfriend. Now the only thing I told Chris was, I said, it's obvious that she do like you, but for whatever her stupid reason for not answering, I said, but don't do that. Don't throw another girl up in her face, And he didn't really understand what I was saying. I said, you don't have to do that. I said, you already said what you said. Leave it at that. Don't be disrespectful. Don't try to pour more salt on the wound than needs to be. You made it clear where you stand with her, but don't do that. And so he kind of didn't agree with me when I told him that. I said, Chris, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. She know, okay? But you don't have to do that. You don't have to be nasty. You ain't got to be gutter, Well, she want to, blow me off, and she want to be like this. So, I said, yeah. I said, but you don't have to do that. So, anyway, after that happened, coming out of here, come on. Let's see if I can shake it up. So after that happened, with him and KK, that's when Larry went back to acting funny. So Chris was like, he back to acting funny. He was like, I don't know what his deal is or whatever. So Then the other girl, Tina, and Chris got into it too. And he said, yeah, well, y'all want to take up for her. But like I said, when I try to reach out to her and I call her, she don't answer. He said, and like I said, I'm not running up behind her, you know, because I've let her know that I like her. He said, but, you know, he said, I'm just not doing all of that. I'm gonna have to buy some more of this because it's almost out. So, so that was that. So, then Larry, like I said, he went back to acting funny. So once he went, ooh, hey.
Let the window down. Just say, she gonna say, hey, baby.
Hi, how you doing, sweetheart?
All right.
That's my work brother. So he was like, you know, he said he back to acting funny. He said, I don't know what's wrong with him. You know, he said, hey, he said, I'm just done. So recently, as of Saturday, they were in a group chat. Because first Chris said, I'm not going to even be in a group chat no more. And I said, why? And he was like, I'm just going to leave all of them alone, you know. So this other little boy, just call him D. Chris met D through Larry, just like he met Tina through Larry. So Chris and D was talking in the group chat. He was like, yeah, D, what's going on? You know, how you been? Now D has already graduated from high school. He graduated last year. So he working and everything like that. And he was supposed to come with us last year to Chris' party, but he had to work. So he's ahead of them, one grade ahead of them. He already out of high school. So D and Chris is talking, and D is asking Chris, you know, yeah, man, you ain't got much longer. You'll be out of high school too. When they talking and everything. Well, the whole time they talking, Larry ain't saying shit to Chris. He basically ignoring him. In the group chat. Just ignored him. Just, you know, wouldn't say nothing. So Chris was like, okay, we're in the group chat and now you just ignoring me? So Chris felt some type of way. So when he came out of the group chat, he tells me, he said, you know, while we was in the group chat, he said, you know, he never said nothing to me. He only talked to D and to Tina and acted like I wasn't even on there. He said, I'm done. He said, if he speak at school, he said, I'll speak to him. He said, if he don't, he said, that's cool too. So I'm like, really? He like, yeah. I'm like, wow. So he said, so Tina, before this had all happened, Tina had called them in a group chat. And Tina said, you know, y'all been acting funny lately. I've been calling y'all. Y'all don't answer when I call on the group chat. They like they FaceTime so they can see each other. And he said, you know, and I call. She said, I called and y'all don't answer. So she had asked Larry, and I heard her ask Larry, she had asked him this a while ago. She said, what's wrong with you? She said, what's wrong with you? She was like, why are you acting so funny? You've been acting funny lately towards us. What's going on with you? He was like, and so Larry asked, ain't nothing going on with me. I'm good. Because he talked kind of low anyway. And so she said, no, you ain't good. What is going on? I told you, I'm good. I'm fine. So he was like, so when the group chat ended, Larry hung up, didn't say bye to Tina, didn't say bye to Chris, only said something to D. So D, because when D and Chris was talking, Larry was quiet. So D said, well, y'all, I gotta go because, I gotta go to bed because, like I said, this guy's working. He said, because I gotta get up tomorrow and go to work. He said, so I can't stay on here with y'all all night like I normally do. He said, but let's kick it again on the group chat next week. This is what D is saying. Because, see, D don't even know that Chris and Larry are not really messing with each other no more like that, right? He don't even know that. So when Larry hangs up and D hangs up, Tina and Chris is still on the line. So Tina says to Chris, you still there? And Chris like, yeah, I'm still here. She said, okay, good. Don't hang up. She said, what the fuck is going on with Larry? She said, he didn't even talk to us while we was on the group chat. Now, she called, okay? She was the one who made the call to everybody. She said, y'all don't answer no more. She said, what's going on? She said, I don't understand. What's happening? So Chris told her. He said, Larry just ain't the same. He said, we ain't tight like that no more. He said, I ain't did nothing to him. He said, I sent him a text recently, talking to him, telling him how I felt about some things. He said, he told me we was good. And he said, and then he goes right back to treating me funny after I sent him that text. So he said, and Chris had told me this, he said, we was sitting at lunch together, eating lunch. He said, and he just got up and walked away and then say, okay, man, I'll see you later. They have gym together, lunch together, and another class together. He said, he said he didn't even say, okay, man, I'm getting ready to go, whatever. So, he was telling Tina this. So Tina like, what is up with him? So Tina says, ever since he started talking to that girl, he act like he just don't want to be bothered with us no more. So Chris was like, yeah. He was like, he's like, I don't know. He said, I really don't know what's wrong with him, So yesterday, Chris sent me a text while he was in school, and he said, hey, mama, how's your day going? And he said, I just want to let you know that I'm truly done with Larry. He said, I saw him today, and I didn't say nothing to him. He said, I didn't even speak. He said, I'm at that point. I'm not even speaking. And he said, I'm not speaking to him because of how he treated me when we was in a group chat. He didn't even acknowledge me. He said, enough is enough. So I texted him back and I said, hey, Chris. I said, my day is going good. I said, I'm sorry to hear that. I said, but in spite of that, I hope you having a good day. Every now and then, Chris will text me while he's at school, while he's in school. And it used to be, I need some deodorant, I need something. When you get off work, can you go get me something? But and so he will text me to ask me how my day is going. They have some kind of free time where they are allowed to use their phone. They can't have their phone while they're in class, but like if they have downtime or if they have free time, they can use their phone. So he always texts around the same time, and that must be when he had the free time. So I said to Chris, I said, hey, I said, do what you need to do. I said, because we ain't kissing nobody's butt to be their friend, you know. And I said, I'm sorry that, you know, it's come to that. I said, because y'all been friends for a minute and you all been tight. He said, yeah. He said, but after he didn't talk to me and then acknowledged me in the group chat and kept talking to D and then talked to me, he said, I'm done. So when I got home yesterday to my mother's house, I went in to get my mom's key to take the car to the car wash, and Chris was sitting on the couch, and I could look in his face and tell that he was upset. He was a little teary-eyed. And he said, I'm hurt. You know, I'm just hurt. He said, because he was like a brother. He was like my brother, you know. And I said, he said, he's like my family. And I said, I understand that. I understand that. I said, but as long as you know who you are, as long as you know you didn't do anything to him, I said, you good. I said, now if you did something and you know you did something, I said, then you got to correct it. He said, I didn't do nothing. He said, and I know I didn't do nothing. He said, I have sent him too many text messages, too many things, asking him, was he good? To letting him know, you know, explaining to him, you know, about our friendship. He said, he said, no. He said, and Chris has gone way far and beyond. You know what I'm saying? He really has. Because I have even told him, you know, reach out to him and all of this and all that. He said, I'm done. He said, I ain't doing no more. Oh, I ain't ran out of everything. He said, I'm not doing no more. He said, I'm at that point now. He said, I'm not even speaking to him. He said, when he didn't acknowledge me, he said, that was the final straw for me. And I can understand that. And my Truthful Tuesday is, friends are hard to find. And when I say that, not that friends are hard to find, it's sad that people that you think are loyal to you are not loyal. And I gave him some examples of some, I said, you know, I said, I was good friends with Philippa, who I went to high school with. I don't remember her from high school, but she and I were tight. We were like sisters. She betrayed me. Not once, twice. Okay, not once, twice. And I said, you remember that. I said, so sometimes you can be really, really tight with a person. You can be really, really tight with a person. And I mean, y'all can be tight. I said, and you come to find out that this person really wasn't your friend. Philippa was never my friend. She was never my friend. She was never my friend. My mother saw it and my sister saw it. I'm always the last one to see it. I couldn't see it. She betrayed me twice. Twice. And have the audacity to think she's wrong. She's not wrong. And had the audacity to call me up to tell me how she was going to kick my ass. This happened about 2 years ago. Bitch. And when I told her, let's meet up, the bitch never came. See, I'm a grown-ass woman. I would never call another woman up and tell her, when I see you, it's on. No, bitch, when I see you is when it's motherfucking on. I'm not going to ever give you a warning. You ain't going to see me coming. That's what grown folk do. Not call somebody up and say, yeah, bitch, when I see you, it's on and popping. Go on somewhere with your bad-ass SpongeBob-looking body. I hope if she watches this channel, I hope you see what I said. You got a fucked up shape, fucked up weave, fucked up looking body, fucked up looking husband. And I actually really liked her husband. But he messy too. And then she come telling me, I told my husband. I was wondering, and I said, and I said, I hope you told your husband what you said about him having erectile dysfunction and that he stink. Girl, people. But I said all that to say that you can be really, really tight with a person and you find out that sometimes you can be tight with people but find out that people don't really even like you. And they have been your friend. And I'm telling you, that's what Philippa did to me. Dorcia, same thing. As long as she was getting a ride, whenever she came into town and I was taking her, she never offered me $1. Not $1. My housewarming party. She didn't send me not $20, not even a $25 gift card. Nothing. But had the audacity to get mad and angry at me because I was in a rental car, because I was going through hell with my car, and never offered me nothing. But had the nerve to get on Facebook and try to drag me and say that I was lying about my situation with my car because I didn't want to pick her up to take her to a party. People will show you who they are all the time. People that you think you cool with, that you think is cool with you, you come to find out a lot of these people are just users. She was a user. So I told Chris, I said, if you and Larry are truly friends, I'm giving you all I'm giving him even a pass because you all are so young. I said, but if he is really your friend, I said, he will correct this. If he don't, then you know to keep it moving. I said, and it's unfortunate that it's the same guy, y'all, that see me and he has stopped kissing me. I'm gonna have to go back to turning my head. I do not want you to kiss me. Why do you feel like you gotta hug me and kiss me on the cheek? You do not. When I tell y'all these are the most huggy, touchy, feeling men that I've ever worked with, every man up in here, when I walk through here, wants a hug. And they're not disrespectful, don't get me wrong. And I don't mind hugging them. I like the guys that I work with, a lot of them. It's only Dirtbag. Dirtbag is the only one that I despise the most. But the rest of the men here, they never did nothing to disrespect me. If anything, they try to help me. But they want a hug. And they want a hug. And this one want a hug and he wants to kiss me on my cheek. I don't want you kissing me on my cheek. And he has stopped, and now he back to doing it. And when I tell y'all, he got the wettest damn lips. Juicy ass lips. And that would probably be fine if I liked him like that, but I don't like him like that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Lord, have mercy. Anyway, But it's sad when you've been close with somebody, you've been tight with somebody, and then y'all ain't tight no more because of some bullshit, because of some BS. Because that's exactly what this is. It's BS. But I told Chris, I said, let me tell you something. I said, get ready. I said, get ready. Because you're going to find you're going to experience a lot of people that are not loyal. I said, I'm telling you this because it's just part of life. You're going to experience that. I said, I'm telling you. You're going to experience it. It's just how it is. I said it's sad to say, but it's the truth. You're going to experience a lot of disloyal people that you thought or think are your friends. You are going to find out that they are not. So I told him, I said, you're doing the right thing by giving him 50 feet and leaving him alone. And letting him be. Oh, I'm trying to wiggle my foot. I said, you're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. I said, so leave him alone. I said, sometimes you got to show people. Sometimes you just got to show people. You just got to show people. And sometimes you got to back away from people and leave people alone so they'll understand what they missed. I said, because it's truly his loss. It's not yours. Because you've been a friend to him. And I know that. And you know that. I said, and he knows that. But if he want to act funny, towards you, hey. I said, because I guarantee you, that girl that he's with, I said, that shit will be over with before you all graduate. If that's not going to be a lifelong relationship, I said, I'm not saying that they don't happen, but it's very rare. And Chris said, well, if every time he get a girlfriend, this is how he going to act. He said, I don't want to be his friend. I said, you're absolutely right. He said, we didn't share too many things, and we didn't talked about too much stuff. And I said, yeah, I know. I get it. I get it. I said, I understand. I said, that's how it was with me and Philippa. Same thing. I said, but in the end, she showed me. She showed me. You can't say you my friend and you let another person, thing, situation come between our friendship. my other friend, who I call twin, relationship ain't the same because you allowed a bitch that did not like me to come in between us. Should nothing come in between us. I may not like your friends. Your friends may not like me. And that's okay. But me and you should be like this, regardless of anybody and anything. So her daughter used to make comments on my Facebook page. She don't say nothing to me. I don't say nothing to her daughter. I do say thing, my friend that we call twin, I do we write on each other's Facebook pages and stuff like that, but it ain't like it used to be. But if she ever need me for anything, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. Anything happen with her in her life, I'm gonna be there. Philippa, no. 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 I don't care about what happened with her at all. I don't wish anything bad on her. I hope that she's well and that she's not sick, and her family is well, her husband, her children, I think she's a grandmother now. I hope everybody is doing great. But she and I will never, ever in life be friends again. Not ever. I don't care what happened in her life. No. No. Mm-mm. Some people, it's just like that. And I told Chris, I said, it's unfortunate that it happened. I said, but it's a learning lesson for you. Because it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. It's sad to say, but it's going to happen again. So my Truthful Tuesday is, if you somebody's friend, be a friend. Don't be acting, if we friends, you don't act funny with me. And you don't push me aside for anybody. Not even your husband. Because our friendship we should be tight. Let me read today's reading, you all. I'm not going to go back. Since I went over the time, I'm not going to read the other affirmations, the past affirmations. We'll do those tomorrow. Let me read today's affirmation, reading and affirmation. Today, February 3rd, the most sacred place isn't the church, the morgue, or the temple. It's the temple of the body. That's where spirit lives. Susan Taylor wrote that quote. And today's reading is, take a moment to check in on your body. Deeply inhale and exhale. Let your mind flow through your body. Check in on your feet, legs, hips. Let your mind roam your abdomen, your chest, your back. Scan your neck, shoulders, arms. What are you feeling? Fear, exhaustion, tension, anxiety, anger, guilt, shame? Inhale and exhale. Where are you feeling it? Legs, back, neck, chest, whatever it is, whatever it is, you are the only mechanic who can fine tune your body. With a simple breath, you can release the stress and replace it with what you need. Turn anxiety into peace, anger into joy, tension into love, fear into faith, guilt into trust. Take a moment right now and give yourself a tune-up. And today's affirmation is, when I am in tune with my body, I relax and release the stress. I'll read it one more time. When I am in tune with my body, I relax and release the stress. From the book of Acts of Faith, written by Ayanna Von Zant. All right, you all. So write your truth in the comment section. But my truth is about friendship and loyalty. And if you somebody's friend, be somebody's friend. If you say you love somebody and you all are friends, be that friend. In order to have a friend, you got to know how to be a friend. In order to have a friend, you have to know how to be a friend. Amen, somebody. All right, you guys, have a great and wonderful and blessed day. And I will see you all tomorrow. But don't forget to write your Truthful Tuesday down in the comment section. And let's not judge, but let's listen. All right, peace. Bye.